Sigourney Weaver's journey is not just the story of an actress who achieved fame, it is the story of a woman who quietly but powerfully reshaped the image of women in cinema and proved to the world that courage, intelligence, and authenticity can break every limitation placed by society. Because long before audiences around the globe knew her name, a young girl named Susan Alexandra Weaver was growing up in New York City surrounded by art, culture, and creativity, the daughter of a television executive and a talented actress, a childhood that looked glamorous from the outside but still carried the quiet pressure of expectations, comparisons, and the challenge of discovering her own identity in a world that often tells young people who they should become. Yet Sigourney did something that many people struggle to do their entire lives. She chose her own path, even when it felt uncertain, even when success was not guaranteed, and even when the industry she dreamed of entering did not yet have a place prepared for someone like her, because during the early years of her life she was not the obvious future Hollywood star people imagine. When they think of celebrities, she was tall, sometimes shy, deeply thoughtful, and often searching for a voice that truly felt like her own. And that search eventually led her toward acting, a craft that allowed her to explore emotion, intelligence, humor, and strength all at once. But even then the road ahead was far from easy, because Hollywood in the 1970s was a place dominated by traditional roles for women, where female characters were often written to be side figures rather than powerful forces in their own stories. Yet Sigourney Weaver carried within her a quiet determination that refused to accept those limits, and step by step she continued learning, studying theater, refining her skills, and building confidence not just as a performer but as a storyteller who believed that women deserved roles that reflected real strength and complexity, and that belief would soon collide with an opportunity that would forever change cinema history. Because in 1979 she appeared in a science fiction film that few people expected to become legendary, a film called Alien, where she played the character Ellen Ripley. And what made this moment extraordinary was not simply the success of the movie, but the revolutionary nature of the character itself. Because Ripley was not written as a traditional hero, she was not defined by romance or by dependence on someone else to save her. She was intelligent, calm under pressure, capable of leadership, and willing to confront unimaginable danger with courage and clarity. And when audiences watched Sigourney Weaver bring that character to life, they witnessed something that cinema had rarely shown before. A female protagonist who stood at the center of a massive story and carried the emotional and physical weight of survival on her own shoulders. And that performance did more than entertain people. It shifted cultural expectations. It inspired generations of viewers, especially young women who suddenly saw proof that strength could look different than what Hollywood had always presented. And while many actors might have simply enjoyed the success and repeated the same formula again and again, Sigourney Weaver continued challenging herself with roles that expanded her range and deepened her impact, appearing in films that explored comedy, drama, science fiction, and social commentary, proving again and again that true talent is not limited to one genre or one type of character. And what made her career even more remarkable was the way she carried intelligence into every role she accepted. Because she did not chase fame blindly, she chose projects that allowed her to explore meaningful themes, powerful personalities, and stories that resonated with audiences on a deeper level. And this thoughtful approach became even more evident when she starred in Aliens, the sequel that transformed Ripley into one of the most iconic heroes in movie history, a character who combined vulnerability and fierce determination in a way that felt real and unforgettable. And through that performance, Sigourney Weaver achieved something very rare in Hollywood. She earned an Academy Award nomination for a role in a science fiction action film, proving that powerful storytelling can exist in every genre when the performance behind it carries truth and emotional weight. And as the years passed, she continued building a career defined not only by success but by longevity, something that requires resilience in an industry that constantly changes its focus and trends. Yet Sigourney Weaver remained relevant because she understood something many people overlook, that authenticity lasts longer than popularity. And throughout the decades, she kept surprising audiences with memorable performances in films such as Ghostbusters, where she revealed her talent for humor and charm, and later in epic cinematic experiences like Avatar, where her presence once again brought intelligence and emotional depth to a massive global production, reminding viewers that true stars do not simply shine brightly for a moment, but continue illuminating the screen through dedication, discipline, and passion for storytelling and beyond the cameras and film sets. Sigourney Weaver's journey also reflects the quiet strength of someone who values balance in life, someone who built a family, maintained personal integrity, and remained grounded despite decades of fame. Because the real story behind lasting success is not simply about talent or opportunity. It is about character, and Sigourney Weaver demonstrated that character through her commitment to meaningful work, environmental advocacy, and the belief that art has the power to influence how people see the world and each other. And perhaps the most inspiring part of her journey is the reminder that greatness does not require fitting into a predetermined mold. Because Sigourney Weaver did not follow the traditional path of Hollywood stardom, she created a new one, a path where intelligence is strength, where resilience becomes inspiration, and where courage opens doors not only for one person but for countless others who watch and realize that their own differences might actually be the very qualities that lead them toward extraordinary possibilities. And as time moves forward, and new generations discover her films and performances, the legacy of Sigourney Weaver continues growing, not just as an actress who starred in famous movies, but as a symbol of perseverance, authenticity, and fearless creativity. A woman who proved that when someone believes in their own voice strongly enough, they can change an entire industry, inspire millions of people across the world, and leave behind a story that reminds everyone watching that greatness is never about perfection. It is about courage, determination, and the willingness to stand tall even when the world expects you to stay small. As Sigourney Weaver's career continued to rise after the success of Alien, the world began to recognize something rare about her presence on screen, something deeper than fame or popularity. Because while many actors chase roles that guarantee attention, Sigourney consistently chose roles that carried meaning, challenge, and complexity. And that choice quietly shaped her reputation as one of the most intelligent and fearless performers in Hollywood, a woman who refused to be defined by a single success or trapped inside the shadow of one iconic character. And this mindset became even more powerful as the entertainment industry itself began to evolve during the 1980s and 1990s, a time when audiences were starting to crave stories that felt more authentic and characters that reflected real human strength rather than simple stereotypes. And Sigourney Weaver seemed perfectly prepared for that shift because she had already built her entire career around authenticity, courage, and emotional depth, qualities that made her performances feel alive and unforgettable. And while many people knew her as the powerful Ellen Ripley from the Alien series, those who truly followed her career understood that she was far more than a science fiction hero because she moved effortlessly between genres, surprising audiences again and again with the range of her talent, appearing in comedies, dramas, thrillers, and even voice performances that demonstrated the versatility of an artist who never stopped exploring new creative possibilities. And one of the most memorable examples of this versatility came when she starred in the beloved supernatural comedy Ghostbusters, where her character Dana Barrett added warmth, humor, and charm to a film that would become a cultural phenomenon, proving that Sigourney Weaver could bring both intensity and lighthearted charisma to the screen without losing the authenticity that defined her acting style. And that ability to balance strength and humanity became the signature of her career. Because whether she was portraying a determined survivor in a terrifying science fiction world, or an intelligent professional navigating strange supernatural events in New York City, she brought the same emotional honesty to every performance, and audiences responded to that honesty in a powerful way. Because people are naturally drawn to stories that feel real and characters that reflect genuine courage rather than artificial heroism. And Sigourney Weaver mastered that balance so naturally that many viewers did not even realize how groundbreaking her roles truly were. because by simply existing as a strong and intelligent female protagonist, she was quietly rewriting the expectations of what women in film could represent, inspiring writers, directors, and future performers to imagine stories where women were leaders, protectors, thinkers,